Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the summary for the day of 274 for the 24th of November. Let's start off with, please slap that like button, the like button haven't been behaving, just slap it. And moving down to the southern front, there's reports of mass withdrawal of the Ukrainian forces, particularly their reserves. According to Russian the Russian pro-Russian source, Ryba, they said that almost all of the reserve are withdrawn from the Kherson region, leaving only just one or two forces over on the northern bank. Basically, they are moving everyone, and they're heading for the Kharkiv region, the Donetsk direction. Then from the Khyberey side, they are moving to Zaporizhia, and there's other forces leaving through, I think, train stations. I guess this looks like train stations. Moving towards Dnipro and the Kharkiv direction. And there are also other forces moving towards the Donetsk direction. So, they are all spreading out to the other front line. Just particularly interesting that they are moving a lot to the Kharkiv direction. Probably is heading towards the Oskil River direction, where the fighting is still ongoing at the border between Kharkiv and Luhansk. So in case you do not know, this is Kharkiv region, this is Luhansk region, this is the border between the two regions, and fighting is raging over here. This line here, where you see this greenish area, this is actually a river. This is the Oskil River. So interestingly, there is also some sabotage happening over at Antonivka. Fighting is reported at Antonivka, where Russian sabotage group launched an attack on the position of the 3rd Battalion of the 28th Separate Mechanized Brigade. And then they actually killed 2 and injured 4, and then they just run away and disappear. So the Ukrainian forces have sent groups to try to hunt down these infiltrators, but they have not yet seems to have success yet. Moving up to the Zaporizhia region, there is a reinforcement continue to be moving towards the front line over at the Zaporizhia line, where there's a convoy of more than 25 equipments pass by through the village of Tersianka, and they are probably heading towards Orekiv or towards this place called Vasilianka, which I didn't go and find where is it. Not very familiar with this place. So there is also a report of fighting at Polohi. Accordingly, a large group of Ukrainian deep reconnaissance group or recon forces, up to 40 personnel with several vehicles, were actually killed. So, if it's this big, I don't even call it a recon group. It feels more like an vanguard or, some attacking force. Because something so big, you don't call it recon. But anyway, they call it recon. Maybe they just don't want to, get people panic where the Ukrainian offensive is ongoing, perhaps. There's nothing happening over at the Velika Novosilka region anymore. Very quiet over the past 24 hours. Moving on to the Donetsk front. So this is Donetsk city, as you can see the name, Donetsk city. And in the southwestern part, the Ukrainian counteroffensive has officially, or rather not officially, but has ceased to be reported. It seems like they ran out of steam. Perhaps they need to wait for more reinforcement. Fighting is reported at Novomihailivka, where the Russians continue to push, and the major attack over at Marinka continues, where the Russian forces want to capture this city or town once and for all. Fighting is also continued to be reported at Krasnohorivka. And so for those that are not familiar, Krasnohorivka is heavily defended. You can see all these are all the trench lines. It's literally everywhere. This is basically a major front line. So any progress here is going to be really slow. And before we move on, I want to also show you how serious the situation of the weather is. The weather is getting really bad over here. Let's not off the sound. Over in Ukraine. So this is not just going to be faced by just the Ukrainian, although this is a Ukrainian trench, but this situation is actually going to be affecting both sides, both the Russians and the Ukrainians. Their trenches, their bunkers are all flooded. the ice is coming, is getting very, very cold. There's already reports of some soldiers getting frostbite, according to the pro-Russian sources. Of course, they are talking about the Ukrainians, and you can see that their foxhole is totally flooded. That water is going to be very, very cold. So let's say if an attack on this position happens now, the soldier will have no choice but to dive into this freezing cold water to hold the position, because you are not going to you rather be cold than dead. So you're going to go into that hole, and you're going to do your best to defend the position. But being such freezing water and going to bunkers that flooded, is going to suck out all your temperature and your morale, and it's going to be one hell of a difficult place to fight in. At Pervomayske, the Russians continue to attack in this position. The fighting at Jevene was not reported anymore. It was only a one-time thing, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Nothing over at the New York region. For those that not familiar, there is actually a city called New York in Ukraine, and or some people will say in Russia, because the pro-Russian sources, the pro-Russian people will say that Donetsk Oblast is now part of Russia as Donetsk People's Republic. So there's now New York in Russia. Unless you don't like it, then yeah, there's New York in Ukraine. So up to the Bakhmut front, the clearing up operation at Mayos has been completed. The Russian forces is now pushing northward towards in the direction of Kudyumivka, where fighting is currently raging just south of it at Ozeryanivka, and there's fighting reported at Andrivka. The position of Andrivka is not listed on Google Maps, so I indicated my custom pointer here. So according to War Gonzo, they say that this is reported by War Gonzo. So they say that this is an attempt to pincer the Ukrainian forces over at Kudyumivka. Yeah, so let's see whether it happens. It will going to take a very long time for this to unfold. The fighting towards Klishivka is continuing, and fighting continue to rage in the southern part of Bakhmut at Opaine, and at Bakhmut in the southeastern part of Bakhmut. The information of Russian forces capturing the waste processing plant, or aka landfill, so this is a city landfill over at Bakhmut, has been confirmed by Ryba. So I have heard this information around a week or two ago, but this time around, Ryba finally reported this. So I moved the front line to this line. So they are literally just at the southeastern outskirts of Bakhmut, as such. There's no fighting over in Bakhmut itself, as per the analysis video I have mentioned, that the Russian forces seems to be wanting to go around it and encircle it rather than go through it. So moving up to the northeastern part of Bakhmut, at Soledar region, fighting restarted at Bakhmutske, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and the fighting at Yakovlivka continues. There is fighting at Bilohorivka over in the Sivers front. There is no more fighting over the rest of the Sivers front, except at Bilohorivka, where we have an update in terms of the front line. According to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they say that the Russians currently hold the eastern outskirts of Bilohorivka. So I've moved the front line to an estimated area, and fighting continues to be raging at Bilohorivka, with the Ukrainians holding the position firmly at Bilohorivka. And for those people who complains about me using a lot of R, E, R, U, A, too bad. Moving to the Crimea front, fighting is reported at Dibrova. So at Dibrova, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and this also confirms that we are mapping this correctly, because the Russian and the Ukrainian side both claims Dibrova. So we have this overlapping mapping here. So we are correct for this. There is Russian hit and run operations towards Toske, where they launch multiple forays according to Ryba, into Ukrainian positions at Toske. So hit and run, and probably trying to either pin down the Ukrainian forces over at Toske, preventing them to be redeployed to other fronts, or they are trying to find a weak spot in the defenses, so that the Russian forces can actually launch an attack towards. There is no fighting towards Chervono-Popivka over the past 24 hours. It looks like the Ukrainians really are lacking reserve anymore after pushing for Chervono-Popivka for at least a month now, and there is nothing at Ploshanka as well. And moving further up north, there's nothing happening other than the positional fighting. At Stemakivka, the Russians continue to attack this town over here, and there is, according to Ryba, if I'm not wrong, yes, according to Ryba, the Ukrainian forces actually carried out remote mining over in this region. So they have so remote mining, basically they use some kind of MLRS or artillery to launch to throw mines all over the place, so that to defend this area more effectively. So this icon is going to turn black in tomorrow's report, because mines actually kills both sides. They will attack both sides. Moving up to this region here at Kuzemivka. Previously, we always have the Ukrainians attacking Kuzemivka heavily, and then we do not have the attack for the past two days. The latest report suggests that the Russians are now on the counteroffensive and reportedly have entered Novoselivske. So as per this report by Intel Slava, a pro-Russian source, they said that the Russian forces have advanced and entered Novoselivskoye, and they are currently conducting assault operation to capture the village. So a turn of event, and I think this comes right at the same time where we have the Ukrainian redeployment from the Kherson front to this area. So I think it will take maybe a few days for the reinforcement to come, or maybe they might need some rest. I'm not sure if they'll give them rest, or maybe they have already rest quite a bit, holding up at Kherson. So they will be redeployed here, I think, within days. Further up to the Kupiansk region, these fronts over here continue to be stagnant. We do not have any information of any fighting in this region over at Kupiansk front. And that's all. We have no incursion over at the Kharkiv region. And this is the summary for the day of 274. Please press the like button. Go and subscribe to DPA War. And just want to inform you guys, DPA War is now in the process of monetization. We have applied for monetization as we have achieved the goal of getting 4,000 watch hours, and we also have more than 1,000 subscribers. So we are currently in application. The moment DPA War is monetized, all war reporting will be moved over to DPA War. So if you are not subscribed over there, you may start to miss all this SITREP. So do not miss it, and I'll see you in the next update.